We just keep getting news about Mario Kart World to the point where I think the Mario Kart Direct at this point was double useless. Not only was none of this new information in the Direct that's supposedly all about information about Mario Kart, but like all the really cool stuff is getting announced now after the fact, which is just such a weird take, but whatever. I'm just happy we have some new stuff to look at. One of the most immediate things that gets shared around all over the place is that the Nintendo Today app keeps giving us clips from Mario Kart World via these binoculars that can be found all over the free roam areas. Probably near tracks mostly, but places you can go to get a better view about what's around you. So I'm just going to play a few clips from some of these, but if you'll notice, a lot of these have new music, and we'll get to how much new music is in this game, but all the new music I've seen is just really good. Like, there's just really good music that has been being showcased, starting off with one of my favorite songs we've heard so far, a remix of Super Mario World, and it just sounds so good. I'm gonna play them in the background, but because of that, there is also going to be some weird sound effects because these are just ripped from the videos, because as of now, the clean audio is not available. So just be prepared for random sound effects throughout the video. Sorry, not sorry. The first clip is showing off the course and area around what looks like faraway oasis. This sort of savanna-like expedition with, I know we've seen zebras, the picture of it has elephants and giraffes. It looks really fun. And I love especially this big jump in the middle. It seems like a great course, but most notably about this clip is this biplane in the background. We know there are some vehicles you can drive your car into to take over, and I wonder if a plane like this is one of them, because if so, this could be a great way of traversal when you're not doing a Grand Prix or something like that. The next footage we have is around Peach Stadium. Now, it is noteworthy, and this is something that wasn't said at the Direct or in any direct information. We've just seen this from gameplay footage we've gotten. Peach Stadium is one of a few courses, I believe, that have multiple tracks within them. This goes back to the course math I did a while ago, but I noticed that there was only 29 tracks available or something along those lines, without including Rainbow Road, which brings us to 30, but that's still too short from a full 8 cups. And apparently Crown City and Peach Stadium both have 2 courses within them. Now, I don't know if there will be more like this, we don't know yet, but we know for a fact that at least Peach Stadium and Crown City do have these. And I will say, seeing some extra footage from other courses, it seems like there is ample road space for multiple courses per course. However, that being said, this is a fully drivable map, so everything kind of looks like a course at the end of the day. So I wouldn't immediately assume that something is a course just because it looks like it can be a course. Our next binoculars is of the very first course, Mario Circuit. Not a lot new here, but it's still good to look at, and this is actually where that Super Mario World remix was originally found. We also got this new footage that isn't a binocular, just some free roaming, but the most important part here is we get a Super Mario Bros. 3 remix in the video. It'll happen eventually, you'll just have to keep your ears out for it. Like I said, the music is just going to be throughout this video. Before we move on to the next section, there's also this overhead shot we got from Wario Shipyard, and this is what I mean. Like, looking at this course, there is definitely enough track for like 3 different race courses on this course, but I don't think that means there's 3 actual race courses here. I think it's just a matter of, if you make an entire map drivable, there's going to be what looks like courses all over the place. So as much as it looks like you could race around the top here, you probably can, but that doesn't mean it's a course. Back to videos, we got a reveal of the Mario Kart World title screen, which looks to just randomly spawn you somewhere in free roam with the icons and information on top of it. Now, if you press L and R, it pulls up the main menu, but if you select free roam, it just seamlessly puts you wherever you were on the title screen, which is a really cool concept that it's just running in the background while you do this. Now, here's some great news, and that's P-Switch challenges. So we saw a couple of these in the trailer, and they seem pretty straightforward. Drive through the rings, collect the coins, and we actually did get a full version of one of those from the trailer, this coin wire section. And yeah, you're just collecting coins here. But the nice thing about these P-Switch challenges we're seeing is that they are going to be incredibly varied. For example, this one, while yes it is still a ring course, it's not just drive-through rings on the ground, it's specifically this tricky area of this ice cream ravine from Sky High Sundae. And to be fair, it looks like you don't even have to drive through these rings, they just give you extra time. Now, is that extra time necessary? Probably, but it's not drive through the rings, it's get to the last ring on time. But now here's something really cool. And this is a completely original, independent P-button challenge. Quote the name of the mission, move through the herd of cows. And it seems like it's a section of Moo Moo Meadows with a lot more cows than usual that you have to weave through to get to the goal on time. Now, this is what I was really hoping for with P-Switch challenges. Not just the same 3 or 4 types of challenges scattered throughout the map like a Korok seed, but rather individualized, interesting, unique challenges that make sense for the space they're in. Like, weave through the herd of cows at Moo Moo Meadows. That makes perfect sense. And imagine what this opens up with the rest of the game. There could be one in Dino Dino Jungle where you have to get from one end to the other while staying on dinosaurs the whole time. You know, these are interesting, individualized, original challenges, something that I was really hoping we would get, and this looks like confirmation of it. Now that's just new footage, and I'm going to keep showing it in the background, but we also got a massive 4-part Ask the Developer interview. Now this is where a lot of really good information came from, and this is information that we got, you know, outside of everything else, and frankly, it's information we should have gotten in the Mario Kart World Direct. But whatever. There's some really interesting points that I want to go over. I'll link the full interview in the description down below if you want to read it, because there is a lot of information to go through, but I'm just going to point out some of the things that make me the most excited. And the first one is development. Apparently, when they first were making this game, it was planned to be on the Switch 1. The idea was that, well, we only have a remake on the Switch 1, so we still need an original Mario Kart for this, and they always wanted to change it up. They thought very early on that if it was just going to be Mario Kart again, it would be Mario Kart 9. But they wanted to change it up meaningfully and give it a new name because of it. So Mario Kart World was kind of always the idea, but they kept running into challenge after challenge trying to make this game work on the Switch 1, and it just wasn't feasible. So when they got news that the Switch 2 was going to be launching soon, they then fully pivoted all the development for the Switch 2 and really pushed the console to its limits. That is to say that this game has been in development in some way since 2017. It seems more and more likely that the Switch 2 was going to release sometime around 2021, but it seems to have been pushed back or delayed because of COVID. That's not confirmed, but we keep getting information that, like, the Switch 2 was planned around that time but got pushed back because of it. Regardless, once they knew they had the power of the Switch 2, then things really started opening up and revamping and making everything just look prettier. But speaking of things that this game contains, I mentioned this earlier, and that's the music. They confirmed that there is over 200 original songs created for this game. Now, when I say 200 original tracks, what do I mean by that? Is this individual songs? And it seems like yes and no. They call it the jukebox. Now, this isn't like a selectable jukebox, but rather the game sees where you're at, sees what the weather and time of day is, and plays what it thinks is the most appropriate song for that moment. And it will seamlessly transition to other songs as you drive and as time passes. So when they say about how many individual songs, they mean more like how many pieces of music they've made, which is over 200. However, they did mention that all of them are brand new arrangements, as well as live recordings, so I cannot wait, because I will say, like you've been hearing, the music we've heard so far is outstanding. When they were asked about how many courses are in the game, I'm just going to give you the direct quote because he explains it better than I could reiterate. It's only like a couple sentences. One of the developers said, "In this game, you don't just race on the courses. The areas between courses are also used for racing, so it's as if there are courses spread all out over the world. And if you were to add up all the possible variations, it would easily exceed 100. Which does go back to what I was saying before. If Nintendo is treating the interstitial tracks as individual courses, and it seems like they are, then there is close to about 150 tracks in this game, which is an insane amount. There's a lot more to this interview that's really interesting, especially about the development of the game and NPC drivers, or like enemies that were originally enemies and NPCs that are now drivers like Cow. But again, the full interview is in the description below. I think there's just a lot of information that if I went through all of it, this video would get really dry. But really what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of really good new information that's coming out every day about Mario Kart World from the Nintendo Today app and interviews like this, and it just still blows my mind that none of this was in the Direct. Like, I know they want to slowly reveal stuff to build up hype, but it feels like some of this should have been in the Direct, and you could have still teased things as they went. But whatever, maybe that's just my opinion. I think it would have been funniest if they included that Goomba was a playable character, and then in the days leading up, released more and more insane character picks. Like, imagine if we found out the day before the game comes out that, like, Swoop is one of the playable characters. People would have lost their minds. But that's just my opinion. In the meantime, if you want to see more of my thoughts about Mario Kart World, I've got a whole bunch of videos. I actually just made a playlist of them. You can find them right here. But until next time, as always, you've been watching RyeTwost. Of all the YouTube channels, it's the second one. Stay toasty, slices.